Welcome back to the Queen's Diary. And today, y'all, I wanted to come and talk about a test that I have basically put together for globe earthers or anti-flat earthers. And as I was making this, as you can see, it says point B at the top, point A at the bottom of the globe earth. It has a letter E to the right for east and a letter S at the bottom for south. And so I decided to name this test Predictive Beliefs Experiment. And it is basically a test of one question and one question only at the end. Now, as you can see on this picture that I created, you see the airplane, and of course it is below the globe Earth elliptical line. Now, that line can be tilted according to you all, but we're going to say that the equator is a straight line, in which it is actually. No, it's the axis that you all say is tilted. So this would be correct. The equator is a line going completely across. So the plane is flying east, of course, and flights are only able to go as high as 42,000 feet by law. So a commercial airplane at its highest will be flying at 42,000 feet. And if it continues east, it still will only be able to reach the countries and portions of the continents below the equator. And so now, since you know that, of course, in order to get from point A, which is Southern Africa, to point B, which is Northern Europe or Northern Asia, which is even further, because between Southern Africa and Northern Europe is about 6,000 miles. Now, that's not adding in the height of Northern Asia, which is, as you can see, much higher than Europe. So, no matter how high that plane gets within a 42,000 feet distance of the Earth's surface, as long as it's flying east, it will never cross the equator to make it to any of the countries or portions of the continents above the equator. So, in order for you to get from Southern Africa to Northern Europe or Northern Asia, in which direction would you be flying in that airplane? Will you continue to fly east? Will you fly south? Will you go back and fly west? Or will you fly north? Because remember, if you continue to fly east, or even if you fly west, you will never make it to any of the continents or countries above the equator. That's the only question I want to know. And if you all add any emphasis on your answers, then you will be disqualified and automatically fail. All I need is one answer. When traveling from point A, Southern Africa, to Northern Europe or Northern Asia, in which direction would you be flying if you were in an airplane? North, east, south, or west? Now, if you say that you will be traveling north, then of course your altitude will change, because no longer are you allegedly going against the gravity of Earth. You're having to go at a higher altitude to go up around that ball. So even though you all feel as though the atmosphere is wrapped around the ball, and that there is curve on Earth, you will basically be going up around that curve, but still going up in elevation, in altitude. Other than that, you wouldn't be going across the equator if you continue to travel from west to east or east to west, in which we see all airplanes do. When you get on the plane, of course, you go up in the air and they level out and you fly at that level until it's time to decline to your destination. There's an altitude, an elevation up to a certain point, and once it levels, that's it. They don't continue to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb, in which it would require when traveling from Southern Africa to Northern Europe or Northern Asia.